let's start our journey of chemistry at the beginning.
In the beginning, God created...
A little too early. Let's try. The dawn of man. Humans are rather small creatures with no teeth or claws. They had only their wits to survive. A cruel and dangerous world.
Hey Larry, what are you doing? Playing Whack-A-Human. Ooh, I love that game. Hi honey, me home.
Oh, how was work today, dear?
Same old grind.
And how was the commute home, Zog?
2 people smushed today. Bad.
Oh, naughty dinosaurs. Did you try throwing big rocks at them? It's what we've always done, don't you know? High-tech appears in history, and material science is born. After great success in the spear business, Zog invents the first franchise, with stores located throughout Greater Pangaea. Fast forward to the Greek philosophers who dethroned the gods. They proposed that man can discover the underlying order of nature by logic and observation.
The birth of science.
As science began, there were 2 competing views of what makes up the material world. A battle between 2 Greek philosophers, Democritus of Abdera and Aristotle of Chalcidice.
Look at nature, my fellow Greeks. It does not simply follow the will of happy or angry gods. No, nature has a force of its own. Humans create humans, horses birth horses. Each kind create more of itself. When those charlatans divine the gods to be most angry, humans don't give birth to horses or dogs. Nature has a driving force, a design. With careful observation and human thinking, man can discover this design. Let us observe the nature of physical matter which forms all things. We see opposing conditions or humus, wet and dry, hot and cold. The 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water, are perfect representation of the extremes of these conditions. Therefore, I propose, proven by logic and observation, that all matter is made of these humus, as represented by the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. But there was an opposing idea, one held by Democritus, the idea of the atom. Wow, we're gonna have to disagree, Aristotle, baby. I know that gods aren't changing the rules like people make people and all that. There's a form behind nature, gotta be true. But I look at the rocks on the seashore, how the waves break them up into sand. Then the sand breaks up some more, gets them smaller into sand grains, until they're too small for your peepers. Then what? As the sand gets cut even smaller, there must be some tiny, minuscule grain that cannot be cut further. The atomos. The atomos, then, is the elemental building block that forms the sand grains that form the rock. The atomos is the stuff that makes up all matter. Therefore, I propose, proven by logic and observation, that all matter is composed of very, 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 very small particles called atoms that cannot be cut or divided. Different atoms, put together in different ways, forms all matter. The ancient world was torn between these 2 ideas for many centuries. Humanity was stuck on the horns of this dilemma until there was a revolution in scientific thinking. It's Athens Late Night with Democritus of Abdera! Opa! Love that bazooki. Opa! I'm your host, Democritus. We've got a great show tonight. A big YouTube controversy. Aristotle versus the atomos. Aristotle, 4 perfect elements make up the material world.
The atomos, fundamental uncuttable particles, form everything. A great lineup tonight. Now, a word from our sponsor.
Ooh, coffee or tea stains on your molecules or your glassware? Look your best every day. Use a Tomos toothpaste. It's incredible. It's uncuttable. It's a Tomos.
Remember, young wizards, the 2 paths of learning. Work hard, listen, do your homework with pride. The other is the frying pan of learning. Don't pay attention, do no work. This is the hard way.
Glad you're back. Let's take our first call. Go ahead, Marcia. Hi, Democritus. How did Aristotle come up with those 4 elements? I just love to know. First, understand that there was a whole school of thought that believed in the 4 elements, so Aristotle is really just a figurehead of this movement. Anywho, it starts with the 4 observed humors or characteristics of matter, really just 2 aspects, heat and moisture, and the extremes of both, hot versus cold, and dry versus wet. So, these philosophers looked about and found the perfect representation of each extreme, earth, air, fire, and water. So earth is cold and dry, air is hot and wet, fire is hot and dry, and water is cold and wet. You see, each element represents the extremes, the perfect elements, the 4 Greek elements of Aristotle. By the way, science and chemistry in particular will follow these 4 elements theory for the next 2,000 years. Funny though, for a long time the chemists, the alchemists, tried turning cheap materials, base metals, into gold, called alchemy, but no one succeeded. Next caller, Reginald. This is Reginald Wigglesworth III. Who really cares about this YouTube controversy concerning matter? Well, matter really matters. That's the heart of the matter. Thanks, Reginald. On to our next caller, Zog. What mean atomos? Thanks, Zog. 2 Greek words. Tomos means cut or slice. An example would be CAT scan, computer-aided tomography, which creates a series of X-ray slices. The A in Greek means not. Tomos means cut. Atomos means no cut. Atomos, atom, means no cut, not divisible. A perfect name for a fundamental particle that makes up all the stuff we see, the material world. Next caller, Larry. Hey, Democritus. How do we decide which of these theories are right? They can't both be true. Wow, Larry, do you need a job? That was a perfect setup for our next episode. Both theories were proven by logic and observation. How do we decide which one is true or false? Well, don't get your toga in a twist, but we'll answer the question on the next episode of The Journey of Chemistry.
Ooh, I love that game.